Well, happy Labor Day to everyone. I know it's like it's Labor Day weekend. Like, you guys are watching this. We're off partying somewhere. We recorded this ahead of time.
You had to, because we do spend time with our families, or we want to go out and do stuff, but we also want to provide good quality content. So here we are.
So we had a little shall we say we had a little strange thing of trying to decide what to do today. So
Right.
And as goes with, so you guys should know some of our things on coming up with ideas. Is sometimes Tim throws an idea out and Gladys goes nah, and then Gladys returns with like we should do this, and Tim will go okay, And sometimes it's like let's do this. Tim says let's do this. Tim says let's do this, and eventually Gladys wears down. But
well, that happens sometimes. I mean, persistence. I just watched the movie Sisu. It's recorded in Finland, and the whole premise is that it's not about being the strongest or the truly, it's not about being the strongest. It's the one that's gonna continue and not give up. And Spartan has a whole thing with Sisu where it's about endurance. And so the endurance piece is important in order to succeed, because you have to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And that's what Tim does. He keeps trying. He's a little tenacious sometimes.
Sometimes, though, my ideas go for the simplistic, whereas Gladys goes for details in what she does, and she's better at coming up with the details of a food-drink combination. I'm more about how do we prep this so that we don't have a lot of time?
Right.
Hours meal to do for a 30-minute podcast.
And I do have to appreciate Tim for that, because sometimes it's like you'll see me like, oh my goodness, it's trying to do this, trying to do that. I have to do it from home because I got to fry something or whatever it is. So the simplicity is actually not a bad thing. And sometimes a lot of times Tim reminds me of that, which is sometimes what I need, because it's like, well, what do you need? Simple. What are you talking about?
But sometimes, like this month, all right, we have several days in the month of September that are going to come up that are being very, very unique days that we were trying to go. We wanted to encompass everything in that day that was that national day. And you'll know that episode. We will be doing that one live this month. We are doing several recorded this month because of travel time, all right, and vacations and holidays and such. But we have an episode coming this month, ladies and gentlemen, that just because there were two foods that we just had to have on the same day, and trying to come up with a combination of them was very tough. But anyway, you guys stay tuned for that episode. But today, I mean, it is Labor Day weekend, and I know many of us have jobs. A lot of us are off today. We're at home. We're out just and spending time with our families, and we wanted to come up with like a salute idea, all right, and do something that what would normally we'd be doing around Labor Day with family. And we also wanted to incorporate something that was on the national calendar, which is something we've been trying to stick to over the last couple of months for ideas. And I think it's either today or tomorrow that this is being broadcast. That is National Cheese Pizza Day. So we decided to do cheese pizza. But of course, that the two of us are never going to do exactly what we're supposed to do. We're going to tweak it somehow, right?
How did you do
pizza?
I did not tweak it. But the interesting thing is that I didn't cook it. Yeah. I have cooked pizza. I love cooking pizza. Today's supposed to be hot. I really did not want to be cooking pizza. And so but I didn't want a frozen pizza, and I didn't want your Little Caesars, your Pizza Hut. I didn't want any of that. And so then I thought, well, what is out here? And then I was like, oh, mod pizza.
Yeah, mod pizzas are getting down here too. They're really good.
So this morning of the recording, I did 2 runs. One of them was at 4 a.m. And the other one was at 8 a.m. The 4 a.m. one was a memorial run for one of the ladies from my run group. She passed away a year ago. During her run, she went out for a run because she has wife, mother of two, she was going out running really early in the morning to make sure she was there for her family, and she never came home. So it's a memorial for her, and because it was right about 4:11 in the morning where she was abducted, we a lot of the ladies they got together. I said, I'm not driving all the way, half an hour to get to you. So I said, I will do it from here. And so I ran for 4.11 miles in honor of her this morning. And of course, I took Maverick with me because it was black outside. I had my lighted vest and my headgear on to also my lighted, which was great because the one up on my head, that one's for me to see. The one on my body's for others to see me. And then the batteries gave out because I hadn't been using it, and I had tested it fine, but it died at the beginning of my run. But I had he had his reflector gear on him too, so got to be safe when we're out in the dark. But so that was that one, and then I went out with foot traffic at it's called the Morning Miles, and so they were giving away a bunch of gifts, and one of them, of course, was the headband with foot traffic on it, as well as my happy hour little mug. But on top of that, which was perfect, was a gift card to Mod Pizza. So thank you for
I didn't do that. I didn't go the route like you did, but Mod Pizza is still good. There's some good pizza places that are going to be national chains, right? And that is one of them. Yeah. So
well, the other thing that I did do to tweak it was I added salad. So I did a Mediterranean salad. If you're getting free pizza, you gotta pay for the salad. So did you put tomatoes on there?
No.
Tomato.
Wait a minute. If I did a cheese pizza and I tweaked it, what do you think pizza I have?
Oh, I'm trying to see because those look like is it like a caprese type? I see cheese. See, those are sun-dried tomatoes is what they look like. Oh, no. They're like the baby tomatoes. So
Margarita.
that's what that was.
I did a margarita pizza.
Okay. I thought about that one too, but this one has all the cheeses. The only thing it doesn't have is blue cheese, but it's got all the cheeses. So it was like, I could do that, but I'm like, I need a salad. So here's my little salad and then my cheese pizza. So, and then for the drink, I couldn't decide. And so there's the one that, of course, I find hilarious because it reminds me of growing up and the neighbors, the retired neighbors. There's three old men that always sat in the little porch area and they drank beer all day long and overlooking Cal State LA. And they would drink beer. It was the generic beer. And so pub beer just reminds me of that, but it's from 10 Barrel Brewing, and they are an amazing brewery. And this is my go-to. It's like Rolling Rock or PBR. I'm like, pub beer. But the one that, so that one I always keep on hand. But the one that I'm going to be featuring today is Pelican Brewing. This is the Surfer's Sunrise. I've not had it before, and there's a story behind it. So I had to bring that up. So I have two. And then, of course, I have my brewery running series glass from my Run for Beer. So I was trying to keep it as Portland-esque as I could. So that is my way of bringing Portland to the show today. And then, of course, because it's a holiday, I had to wear casual, and because football season's coming up, I had to, sport.
She has to wear that cowboy shirt. Oh man.
I know. I knew that you'd be like cringing, but because it's like where the camera is, you won't, you could just say, oh, that's just, it's just the star,
Just a star.
A superstar.
So I went Texas. I really went Texas. All right. Number one, if you notice, I have one of my ranch shirts on. Because I decided to go get a ranch beer. For those of you know, my favorite with Yellowstone, 4 6s. All right, actually has some beers, and this is their amber lager, awesome lager. I've had this both on tap as well, out of the can, from several breweries down here, and I had a can of it in my refrigerator. And I'm like, oh, I know what I'm using that for. When we discussed that, I'm like, I'm going to use that for our beer because
nice.
I'm going to have Texas beer. I'm celebrating Texas beers while you're celebrating Oregon beers.
Yes, which we try to do, and it's not because we're trying to compete at all. Although we do compare. We're not trying to compete. We're just trying to compare. And this time it just so happened that it's,
Well,
we
there's
wanted
times
to.
we have to do this, and we do. There's several times a year we do the Texas versus Texas, Oregon thing, and we've done it several different ways. All right, we've both gotten the same drink and compared it. We've done each other's. We've done our own, but we've never done where I send you Texas stuff, you send me Oregon stuff, and I'm tasting the Oregon stuff, you're tasting the Texas stuff. We've never done it that way yet. But I want to show you this beer. Look at the amber color in this sucker.
Color. That's beautiful.
Oh, it is a beautiful color. All right. It is a, I want to say it's almost like a nice buttery finish ginger ale, right?
Oh,
is
okay.
good. Yeah.
So mine being a Surfer Sunrise, it has that opaque color, almost like a Hefeweizen would have. So it's not your clear, it's hazy. So you got some
right?
things
Yeah.
in there. Yeah,
it's a blonde, right?
It's yes, it's a blonde. It is definitely a blonde. And the history behind it is right on the package. Here. So it comes in a box, Surfer Blonde Ale, and it was born at the beach. And I love that the information is on it right on here because I love history. I love understanding the different, the history behind the beer or the beer makers or where it's being made, so that's what is fun for me. So this particular one is where Pacific City in 1996, the original Pelican Brewing Company was born. So there's the Pelican Brewing Company, 1996, and it says that they have taken their breweries and their values to other Oregon coastal towns where they wake up each day in a place that reminds them how amazingly possible it is to cheer fellow fanatics. And this is as good as it gets, which is really cool. So this particular one, is it says filled with excitement for a new day, the Surfer Sunrisers rise to chase the coming swell. So I remember in junior high, one of my classmates, if it was a good surf day, him and his dad would go surfing, and his dad happened to be he was my history teacher at the time. And so they would not go to school that day, and so they were always keeping eye on the tide, and this is Southern California. And so this is the embracing of the sense of vitality, and by day's end celebrate with a toast to the adventures that they had found through the waves. And with a brilliant straw yellow color and a floral herbaceous aroma, Sunrise Surfer Blonde Ale is a refreshing, tasty treat. And it's a light toasted flavor from the Pilsner malt, and it combines with a bread-like wheat character to give this beer a crisp, lean malt aspect, finishing smooth and clean, and it exhibits wonderful balancing character, ready to sip at evening calls forth the plans of the Sunrise Surfers' next adventure. So what I like about this is that I think because of that bread-like wheat character, I think it'll go very well with pizza. I think it'll just enhance the flavor. So that's this one, the blonde. So I'm gonna.
I already know my beer goes with pizza. Why? Because I'm tasting it, waiting for it.
As always, because I'm like chat. It's like shut up, Gladys.
I was hungry. I just like.
I'm gonna put foot traffic there because I need to have the foot traffic because they're the ones that took care of the pizza. So I want to make sure that they also get recognition for the mod pizza. So that's it's kind of fun stuff where it was a just in time. So I'm gonna see if I can get Surfer Pelican. There we go. I'll move it in a little and big smiles. Yeah. All right. So fun times. Good pizza with good friends is always a good thing. That's like something that you can easily come together over pizza and beer.
Yeah.
pizza and beer is always a good
And
combination.
as you're celebrating your Labor Day, I realize, you know what I mean? A lot of people go to the cookout type idea. I want to go to a cookout, my friends.
Yeah.
Here's the truth is, guys, all right, anytime you share open a beer with friends and share food with the friends, it doesn't matter what the food is, right?
Right.
It matters about what the company is, right? You got to find what you like. One of the reasons I like about our podcast is we have totally different tastes when it comes to beers, totally different tastes when it comes to wine, totally different tastes when it comes to whiskeys. Well, on occasion, we have a lot of whiskeys we like together. I got to take that. We do have a similar taste in vodka, but we're always experimenting different foods because we never know what food's going to go with something. And I just think back to here's just me as I think at Labor Day. I've been out of high school 40 years. This next year will be my 40-year high school reunion.
Wow.
And a typical person works a job for 40 years. As we think about Labor Day, 40 years. So I go back 40 years ago to hanging out with my buds before I went to a job, or even after I worked my job. I remember going to the Pizza Hut, getting a pizza. All right, you sat down, you had a pizza, and after you become of age, you could have a beer with your pizza. You know what I mean? That was a pub thing back in Pennsylvania where we'd go to the beer, we'd go and have a beer and pizza and after work. So this is a recap for me as I think of Labor Day, a recap back to how my working day started, how my working world started when I got a job.
I remember at I guess every job I've had, it was ordering pizza was a thing. It was just like, what, if you were working on a Saturday, they'd order pizza. If you were, just because if you were working late during the week, they would order pizza, or just because every so often it's like, hey, pizza for lunch. And I remember when I was in Texas, we were trying to get as many toys for the local kids and what have you. And so there was a whole competition going on because they were going to win a pizza party. And so they went out and bought like a bunch of balls. They went out, they were like, the day of, they were trying to figure out who had brought in the most toys. And a couple of the teams went out and got more toys because they wanted the pizza party. Now, what they spent on toys was probably more than what they got in pizza, but that wasn't the point. The point was
you went through with an activity that brought unity in the group, and it actually had a general mission, right?
Yes, and so they were excited for the pizza too because they knew where the pizza. They got to choose where the pizza was going to be from. There was a budget around it, but they were going to be able to get pizza and salad or whatever else they wanted. But there's so much simplicity with pizza. It can be very complicated to make, or you can simplify it. I mean, I love making pizza at home, and there's this Bellagio's, the name that's local from where my condo is. And so I'll go in there and I'll get a large dough, and they'll give me the dough, they'll flour it, throw it in a plastic bag, and then I take it home and I roll it out, on my pizza pan and put all my toppings in there and throw it in the oven, and it is really good pizza dough, and it's exactly the way I want it. So that's the beauty about making your own pizza, is you get to add or subtract what you want, but it's a little bit of work, and there's nothing wrong with that for me because it's like, I don't mind. It's good. But Mod's Pizza, what I love about Mod's is that they will put all the toppings that you want based on, these are the pizzas, and then you can add all your toppings. So in this case, it was all the cheeses except blue cheese.
Oh yeah, I don't like blue cheese on my pizza. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I mean, and beer. All right, we think back to when we got out of high school, like 1980s is when I got out. We had, for us, a beer, Budweiser was like the main thing. You either had Budweiser, you had Miller, or something like that. You know what I mean? There was not a lot of options. I remember we had a local brewery in Pennsylvania called Stroh's, which is no longer around, that we loved. But back then, it was almost like the 1970s movie with Burt Reynolds. All right, you couldn't get Coors that far east, right? Type deal. Coors didn't come available in the east for a couple of years. But I remember the '90s falling in love with microbreweries, and I remember one of the first microbreweries I ever fell in love with was Red Dog Beer. And I used to really love Red Dog Beer until they got bought up by a big company, and then it became another whatever, you know. But
Wow, yeah.
those microbreweries helped me love the taste of beers. This is why I like about like this. And I had this not 3 days ago with a friend. We were actually having a network, or one of my networking buddies. We were having a face to face, and we had it at a bar. And I looked up, and they had this 4.6 amber lager, and I'm like, I want that 4.6
I
amber.
want that, yeah.
Fish out of the tap, baby. Oh, this is good out of the can, but I really love it out of the tap. I want to have that
Yeah.
from the
Oh,
can.
draft beer is the best. There's something about it coming out fresh that is absolutely delicious. And if I go somewhere and I know that it's like what's on tap, that's what I want. If they absolutely have nothing, which I don't think they've ever not had something that I want. It's like, so long as it's not an IPA.
I know, yeah, you're not into the IPAs as much, yeah.
No, and there are so many
Gwen's
IPAs
into
out
porters, so Gwen really likes those dark porters. So I'm not into the dark porters, but I do love the lagers. Lagers are got to be my favorite. IPAs has got to be my second favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, it for me, it's not. Sean loves IPAs also, and it's just not my thing because it tastes like grapefruit to me. That's what it is, but I don't like grapefruit. So it's
I almost was going to pull out. I have one in there. I have one of my Shiner grapefruits. But I was almost going to pull one out for today's episode.
I just that's not my thing. But I'll drink everything different. I remember Castle something or other. It was like this brown ale. And the first time I tried it, I was in my mid-20s, I guess, and I thought it was going to be heavy. And the bartender says it's not, and I tasted it, and I went, "Oh, okay, this is good." It was rich in flavor, but it wasn't that overpowering. Like, oh my goodness, it's just tar going down my throat. Nothing like that. It was just really nice. This one is definitely crisp. It has that nice flavor. It does remind me ever so slightly of a wheat beer, but not really. It's just that additional flavor. It's not just your, blonde because a lot of blondes are very light. And this one has good flavor. I really like it, and it goes very well with the pizza. The tomato sauce on this is yummy. I mean, it has a nice
that's what makes the pizza is the sauce.
Yeah.
I had a childhood when I was 18. I had a childhood pizzeria that I would eat there lunch there almost every day. They were just such a good place to get pizza, And I remember because it was a family recipe. The gentleman who ran it, he was one of the sons. The family had several different other ones around there. And the son who had the one I went to, he's the one who made the sauce for all of them. It was his sauce. And a lot of those Italian families, one was good at one thing, one was good at another. He was the son that was good at the sauce. And it was a phenomenal sauce. The only problem I had with it was he was very light with his sauce on his pizzas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But not a lot, just a little. And it would tease you just enough to go, okay, I want another slice because I want more of that sauce. So, well, today's show is pre-recorded. It is Labor Day for many of you guys. So, we're just doing two short episodes that we're recording today. This is one here. This one we'll be recording next week's as well here today. But I want to give a shout out to those of you who work to keep America what it is. Right, a lot of you have jobs that, for lack of lying, all right, Gladys and I don't want to do. We don't want to do your job, but we are thankful you do your job, and that's what Labor Day is. We're celebrating you, the person doing the labor in our world today. So just cheers, my friend. If you're a hardworking American, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah.
And there are some folks that are working today on Labor Day. It's just life goes on, and so there are certain that have to. And I remember even working when I was in corporate America, there was every holiday somebody worked. Yes. It was a skeleton crew. Not all departments, but specific departments. banking was one of them because we did deal with Canada, and so we had to have somebody there, and so money was being transferred, and but there was very few people, less than a dozen in a building of 1,500. And so it was like the bare minimum, and yeah, they were getting double time, and there were some holidays I'm like, I don't care, it's like, fine if you need me, if you don't need me. So it just depended on what the holiday was and the severity of the need. And for the most part, my departments weren't affected to that extent where we would have to be there. But some of my colleagues were, because they were in certain departments. So so those of you that are working on Labor Day, thank you very much for being there, because I'll probably walk into an establishment where I need you,
Yes.
or food store is going to be one of them, potentially a gas station or not, depending. Although now Oregon has switched to you can pump your own gas. And so, yay.
I know many of you in Oregon don't like my view on that, but like I do have to say this. The first time I ever came to Oregon was on motorcycle. And as I pull up to the pump, this kid goes to pump gas into my bike, and I said, like, hell no, dude. It ain't happening. He goes, well, in Oregon, we pump your gas for you. I said, you may pump gas for everybody else, but you are not coming near my motorcycle. I don't know you.
It's so funny that I think it was the first or second time I came to Oregon. I'm not used to it because I was in California at the time. And so I was on my way to the pump, and all of a sudden you got people running. It's like, whoa. Well, what they did a few years back is that the smaller rural towns or specific towns based on population, I guess it was, and where they were allowed to have self-service, because the problem was that they couldn't keep people working, but yet they would have motorists that would be coming through that weren't living there but were driving through, and then they were stranded until somebody actually was working, which could be a day or two later.
Yeah.
And so it was not very conducive. So when I go to Cascade Locks, that Chevron station has a big sign that said self-service. So there are some towns, and that's a pretty driven town because it's right off the main highway, and there's a lot of races there that I go through, and plus it connects. There's the Bridge of the Gods that connects Oregon and Washington, so it's a very traveled. But they've had that for a long time. But now, as of a month or so ago, and I love it. It's like, you know what? I don't have to wait on anybody. I can just get out and pump my own gas and be on my way. And this last time, I completely confused the young kid that was going to pump my gas, because it was one of those that you can put your rewards number in, and I'm giving him my phone number. And then he says, well, I need your phone number. I said, I'm giving you my phone number, area code, because I said area code. I always say area code because otherwise, being a different area code, 818 versus 503 or 971 or 360, which they're used to, I always say area code. So that way it triggers that this is the area code. And then he was completely confused. And I said, it is my phone number. And then I said it again. And then he had to think about it before he's like, oh, that's the area code. It's like, yeah, that's the area code. He goes, okay. It was great. It was great. It was a lot of fun, but a nice young kid, but he actually pumped my gas even though I was going to self-serve, but he was available, and I was like and he took care of it. So I'm like, thank you. I did finish. Once it was done, then I was the one who pulled, and put everything back, and I know how to, I've been pumping gas since I was like 9 years old.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, today was supposed to be a short broadcast, guys. We won't get away without mentioning, number one, our Insiders Club. All right. You must be 21 to join, but go to likethewayyouDrink.com. There's a button there that pops up that says, would you like to be part of the Insiders Club? Insiders Club is free to join, and we do additional tastings with you. You'll get the options to actually look into some of the alcohols and stuff that we are creating, and we will have Insiders parties. So there is a bunch of stuff that we're putting together. It is a new group. We would love to have you join. Must be 21 to join. It is free to join. The activities that we do is the only thing you have to pay for in the Insiders Club. There is no membership fee. That's the way we're doing it right now. There might be in the future.
Right.
Join now before it gets in.
Yep. You'll be grandfathered in. And there were some pictures that I posted in a video, a little teaser that I posted on Friday that I got to barrel a rye whiskey. So in 10 months, the Insiders Club is going to know once the bottling has taken place, if they want a bottle, information on it, ability to go help with the mash process and the bottling process and the barreling process. Only the Insiders Club get invited to things like that. So, and that is something that as a giveaway, you get to be part of creating the next one. So the next barrel. So make sure you join, because one of the fortunate folks from the Insiders Club will get to do that with us. So
that's right. So, with that being said, before we close out, we're just going to tell you a little bit about who we are. We sponsor this podcast. Our business is what makes this podcast possible every week. And of course, as always, ladies first.
Thank you, Tim. This is Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design, helping small employers attract and retain quality staff through employee benefits. Go to insurancedesignpros.com. You can get a little bit of information in there. On the upper left-hand corner, you will see a little button where you can do a download of a white paper that will show you 101 employee benefits for all budgets. But guess what? Each business is different. Each employee benefit is tailored to your business. So let's have a conversation on how I can help you figure out what is best for you and your staff. And this is my co-host,
Tim Gillette, over here with the Amber Lager. Hey guys, Simple Easy Websites. That's right, simpleeasywebsites.com. I do our website as well as others, many others around the world. We have clients all over the world. We're doing their websites. We'd like to get you up and going, get you focused so that people are actually on there making money. One of the features we will be adding and offering to people doing our website is a great new SEO tool that will guarantee to move the needle. All right. We don't guarantee first page. We guarantee to move the needle and consistently be moving your needle up with this wonderful tool that we've got to put into your website. So to find out more, go to simpleeasywebsites.com. So with that being said, all right. Is that all we got, right?
That's all we got.
All right. Enjoy your Labor Day. We will be back next week with another recorded episode.